A gallop on sea by the weed, trained by the wonder of dying and birth. The horses still running, they are free. My body is new, the shell of my soul, but the flesh must be given like a pony that carries its rider back home, like an old friend who's tried and been through.
Hi, I'm Jessica Perkins, and this is my 4-year-old thoroughbred off of the racetrack. His name is Quinn. I've had him for a little over a year, and right now my trainer has been working with him doing training using the John Lyons approach. She pretty much has been working on like round pen training. Well, pretty much when I first bought him, he was rideable, and I was walk trotting and cantering on him. And then he didn't really get worked over the winter because of the snow. And when I started working with him again, he was kind of lazy under saddle. He didn't want to go forward. So we eventually had a massage therapist come out and look at him, and she said that my saddle didn't fit him properly, so it was making him sore, and that's why he didn't want to go forward. And pretty much ever since then, I haven't been riding him because I needed to buy a new saddle, and because he started becoming a little bit aggressive towards me. So then I found a new trainer, and she's been working with us since then. My trainer's name is Robin Wilson, and we pretty much found her over the internet. She had an ad posted. It was pretty much just, I guess, by chance that we found her. We called and scheduled a lesson, and she came, and I liked the stuff she was teaching me, so she came back. And when I first started lessons with her, I was actually riding him at the time, but now it's pretty much, we've kind of gone back to the beginning and started training him over, so that way everything will be done the correct way. I've been riding horses since I was 8 years old, and I got my first horse when I was 10. So I've pretty much been around horses my whole life. I went away to college for equine studies, and I ended up transferring twice. I've been working on dressage. When I started riding, I rode hunt seat, then I rode balance seat, and now when I went to school, I took a class in dressage, and I really liked it. So I've pretty much been working on that, and dressage is just a more involved form of riding where the horse and rider really have to work together. And our trainer has pretty much a lot of experience with dressage, and she also has horses off the racetrack of her own, so she's used to working with them. And she sees a lot of potential in Quinn at times when I don't, but hopefully we'll be able to work through the obstacles, and someday he'll be a perfect horse. Horses are out in the wild. They pretty much like have an order. Like there's the lead horse, and then the other ones that pretty much abide by that horse. So the kind of training she uses is pretty much what horses use out in the wild. So she tries to teach him that she's the one in charge, that she's the lead horse, and he has to kind of be submissive and give in to her. And if he doesn't, then she'll make him work harder until he does what he's supposed to. So when she actually works with him out in the ring, you'll see that she might chase him around, and it's not because she's trying to tire him out, it's because he didn't do what she had asked, therefore he's forced to work harder. But when he does what he's supposed to, then he doesn't have to work as hard. And I think when you train any horse, it's probably best to start with this approach, because you want to get their trust, I guess, on the ground before you actually get on their back. And that's what we're trying to do, is get them to trust people again before we actually get on them.
Are you afraid of the horse?
At times I am. Usually when I'm working around him, I'm not, but when it comes to actually taking him out into the arena and riding him and that kind of stuff, then I can be.
And do you think that the horse can sense that intimidation that you feel?
Yeah, I think horses are a good sense of that.
And so how can you overcome that?
I don't really know, because throughout all my time working with horses, I've never honestly been afraid of a horse or scared by a horse, but he's pretty big, so
How much does he weigh?
I'd say at least 1,000. Yeah.
Is he
So.
going to get wider in the girth?
He probably won't get much wider just because he is a thoroughbred and he's off the racetrack, and obviously race horses are kept pretty fit. So I think like his metabolism has just pretty much become like accustomed to burning off all of his food. I mean, he gets fed a lot of grain and he gets hay pretty much all day long. So I think he'll always be on the slim side. This is my other horse. His name is Lightning Bay. I've had him since I was 10 years old. He's now 20. He's the one that I use to go to horse shows. We've gone to a lot of shows. We have won a lot of ribbons. Right now we haven't really been, or I haven't really been working with him too much. Kind of been giving him a little break. I work with him on dressage. He's not much of a jumper. He likes to do flat work, so we pretty much just work on dressage.
Hi, my name is Robin Wilson, and I'm an owner and operator of Quarry Hill Farm in Fitzwilliam, New Hampshire. And I've been working with horses for about 23 years as a rider, trainer, and instructor. I train horses as well as teach people how to work with their horses and communicate with their horses, riding and on the ground. And today what I'm going to talk a little bit about is a method called natural horsemanship. It's been termed many different things. Essentially what it is a way of communicating with horses in order to relate to them in their most natural environment, the way other horses would relate to them out in the wild. Horses on their own basically communicate to each other through body language. And essentially what natural horsemanship does is it creates a simulation of that natural horsemanship in that body language, where I actually present myself to the horse as another horse. Within horse herds, they have a natural hierarchy of status, and the horses rely heavily on that for their survival. Horses in their natural environments don't have a lot of fighting defenses, so their natural response to danger or to something that makes them uncomfortable is to run or to flee. And that is very true of horses in a stabled environment as well, horses that are kept as pets or competitive animals that are in the show ring. So what this whole method is based on is basically simulating that body language and creating a communication, a natural bonding and developing a relationship with them in a way that they would understand it from another horse. By putting the communication on the horse's terms, where they understand them, the horse is much more agreeable and a lot quicker to relate to a human being in that way. Horses do not by nature have common sense as we would know it as humans. They only understand what they understand. So it's our job to develop a training method and tool that a horse is going to understand naturally and build on that natural communication, opposed to trying to take a horse, force him into our world, and tell him how things are going to be, which in the past cowboy days, that was a very common sort of method, was to break a horse, basically ask the horse, sort of dominate the horse and teach them through force and through drastic measures that they needed to respond to us and to behave and basically be a superior being. In the natural horsemanship way of training and schooling a horse, it actually focuses on bonding with the horse, developing a trust, and teaching the horse to see you and respect you as another horse within his environment, but yet somebody within the higher levels of the hierarchy of his natural herd environment. And basically you build from there. You go from the horse's natural instincts, you develop them, you create the bond, you let the horse decide that he wants to be a part of your group, he wants to be a part of your herd, because his survival depends on it, just as it would in the wild. And then from that point on, you're able to create a bonded relationship with the horse that you can build on and develop into training, opposed to just trying to dominate a horse and tell them who's boss. That sort of method is really a thing of the past. It's really become something people have focused on. There are a lot of famous horse whisperers, if you will, that you'll hear about. That's probably the most common one that people in the general public would understand or relate to. There was a movie out quite some time ago about a horse whisperer and that sort of thing. So this really builds on that. It's very much basically building on natural instinct of the horse to develop a relationship and a cooperative bonding sort of training program. I became involved with horses about 23 years ago. It's been a lifelong passion of mine, but I really seriously started riding and competing horses when I was about 12 years old. It started out with riding some hunter jumpers and doing some showing and competitive things in that fashion. And from there it grew on through college. I became involved in a dressage facility, and that really opened my eyes to more of a natural development of horses and creating a more natural way of going and building on that to help the horse physically be a stronger, sounder animal. Through my experiences and time just being around horses and learning to relate to them, I've been introduced to many different methods and have taken a little bit of each of those things that I've learned from many different people and created my own type of training methods and tools that work best for me. My theory and my strong belief is that if I can work with a horse and ask him to be my friend and ask him to work with me because he wants to and because there's a mutual respect, that is the way that I want to base my training program. And that's come from using many different methods over the years of sometimes it's a restraint method or sometimes it's another way of looking at things. And I think that just through my experiences, not only things that I've experienced myself over 23 years, but also things that I've watched and observed, I've been able to put together my own thoughts and beliefs that I'd really rather be a friend to the horse, ask the horse to accept me as his friend as well, and to work and build on that relationship as a training tool.
Now, how do you know when you have established that bond relationship with the horse and that he trusts you?
I know that because the horse then will show me physical signs, just as I will communicate with the horse physically with body language to tell the horse what I want to tell him. I can tell that horse, I don't need to accept you, I can send you away. And a horse is very panicky about that. It creates an instinct, a survival instinct within the horse to feel that he needs to join up. He needs to be a part of something and accepted. If he's not, he's then out there on his own, so to say, in the environment to fend for himself. Susceptible to prey, to predators, and that, you know, the whole aspect of scariness creates the horse, within the horse, an internal need to be accepted, to be a part of the herd, because that's where survival lies for the horse naturally. So if I then am working with the horse in an environment and I'm talking to him like a horse would with my body and I'm sending him away, I'm asking him to turn when I want him to turn, I'm asking him to turn toward me opposed to away from me, meaning he's giving up all of his defenses, which is flight. A horse could not turn towards something and run away from it. So in asking the horse to come towards me, I'm then showing him it's okay. And he's then showing me when he will willfully turn toward me and give me that acceptance of trust to turn in and say, okay, I'm turning because you've asked me to, but I'm turning toward you opposed to away from you. That's an acceptance and a passive sort of response. Then the horse will start to lower his head. He'll turn his ears in as if he's listening. You'll see the body reactions from the horse. They also start to lick and chew with their mouths and lower their heads, which is a sign of submission in horse behavior. When the horse gets to that point, I can then start to ask the horse will then start to ask to come into my space. He'll start to move in closer toward me. I can either send him away or I can say, it's okay, I'm accepting you, and the more I accept him and allow him into my space, the more we're communicating on a one-on-one. He's saying, may I come in? And I'm saying, yes, you may, I'm accepting you. And as he comes in, I can then get to a point where I can ask the horse to stop. I can control whether he's going forward, whether he goes more quickly forward, whether he slows down the pace, or whether he can actually stop and come in and bond with me, and they call it sometimes a joining up type of thing, where he will come in and actually stand at my shoulder and very quietly wait for me to tell him what is the next step. If I then walk away, that horse will follow me. That horse will have his head at my shoulder and he will stay there regardless of whether I turn sharply left, right, stop, back up. The horse will not leave my side, and that's when you know the horse has accepted you as the higher person or herd animal within his hierarchy of survival, and that he has in fact given you his trust and respect, and then you proceed from there. I work with the horse a little bit to get the horses so that I can get a feel for the horse. I can understand where that horse might stand naturally within the hierarchy of horses if I were to put him in a herd environment. See if he's a very strong-willed horse, if he's going to submit and bond up with me and give me that respect as well as his trust. When I've earned that and I figured out a little bit about the horse, through this training process I can figure out if a horse lacks confidence, if he's fearful of people. Deep down he's got a fear that's been developed for whatever reason. I can work through those issues and get to know the horse's personality a little bit deeper than I would if I were just working with his owner or another person with the horse. What I then do once I feel that I've developed a strong grasp for the horse and understanding of the horse, and the horse has developed the same of me, I then work with their owners or whoever it is that's going to be working with that horse on a daily basis. I then work with them to teach them to do the same thing that I've done, so that they can then accomplish the same bonding, the same understanding of the horse. But at that point we're a little bit further ahead because I've worked with the horse and I have been able to figure out the horse's personality a little bit deeper than I may if I just worked with their owner and the horse solely. At that point I can then communicate to the owner what it is that I find. I also strongly encourage all of my owners and clients that I work with, to work with me in the process. That's a huge factor in them being able to communicate and develop the same relationship with the horse that I develop. It is very important for them to also become another member of the herd environment within their horse's lives and to develop that same level of respect, trust, and communication with the horse. So I will then take the owners and bring them in, put them in, and have them perform exactly the same methods and things that I've performed. And if it's somebody that is unfamiliar with the whole process, I encourage them to sit and watch while I'm working with their horse, and I will explain to them verbally what I'm doing. And at the end of each session, I will also sit down with them and explain, when he behaved this way, I had to react in whatever way I had to react. So they understand and start to see the association over a couple of sessions in how I'm communicating and talking to the horse with my body language, so that they can then develop the same system and the same communication.
Now, in this particular case, for this particular horse,
Mm-hmm.
how long do you think it will take for him to be able to become adapted to what her needs are?
I think at this point, we've worked with him for probably a month or so with this method, and we have come a long way with this horse. In the beginning, he lacked a lot of confidence. He was very distrustful. And through that development of distrust that he had of people and what they might ask of him, basically coming from his previous history of being a track horse, they're very young and they're faced with a huge job in front of them of being a racehorse, and there's a lot to it that's very overwhelming to a very young horse. And because of that, he came with a lot of what we would call emotional baggage. Basically, he had a lot of issues where he did not trust, he did not know what we were going to ask of him, and he learned to react to that in a horse way, in any way that a horse would. If you can relate to being a horse, if you think about being a horse and only being able to communicate the way a horse can, they start to act out. They start to show sometimes behaviors that may appear aggressive. Horses by nature are not aggressive animals. Again, they're flight animals. They would rather run away from danger opposed to stand up and fight. They're not aggressive by nature, so the horse would prefer to run. If the horse is forced into an environment or situation where he has to perform, even if he's fearful, they then develop behaviors where they will act out, if you will, such as a young child would. And within that behavior, it can become a very dangerous behavior. Obviously, the horse is a whole lot bigger than we are, and if we were to try to go strength against strength, the horse would obviously win every time. So we've got to develop a higher level of communication to get the horse to willfully work with us. Now, this particular horse did have a lot of fear issues, and we did have to work through some of those where he was very fearful. It took him a long time to feel comfortable enough and to let his guard down and trust me enough to actually come in to my space and say, yes, I accept you, I'm comfortable with you, I trust you, I understand that you're only going to show me the way to survival and you're not going to hurt me. It took him a long time to get over that. Since we've gotten over that, he has progressed very rapidly. It's amazing. He's been wonderful. And so now we're at a point where we need to start to transfer that over to Jess and let Jess and Quinn develop that same communication and relationship that I have developed with him.
Faster, faster, on eagles and horses, I'm flying again, flying again, flying again, flying again, I'm flying
Before I laugh,